All right, hello everybody. How are you guys? This is Pinal from SQLauthority.com, and I welcome all of you to this live conversation, live pop-up conversation on a Facebook. Thanks to Pass that we are able to talk today. So yeah, let me give you my introduction. If you do not know, I'm a SQL Server performance tuning expert, and actually I'm done with my introduction. I don't have anything more to add because do you really care about anything else? Right now, we are just here to talk about some fun thing. I want to answer your live question. If I don't answer your questions properly, then what's the point of being an expert at all? So, yeah, introduction is done. And please go ahead and type in your question. I'm waiting for it, and I would be happy to answer. Pass is coming up with Summit just around the corner, so I'm pretty excited. I would be there, and you can connect with me live as well. So yes, guys, type in the questions, and I would be um, just ready to read it. So we are all good in that way. All right. Oh yes, and I just have to say that you guys asked question. The first question started. Okay, so my first question is: my query was running fine, and suddenly it got slow. What should I do? This question is amazing. It's like you are just asking me, your car is was running fine and suddenly stop. What should you do? You should actually, you can do a lot of things, isn't it? But I'm going to make life here simple for you. If your queries were running fine and suddenly it goes slow, there are three things I pay attention at that point of time. Number one thing, I mean, you can see thousand things, but these are the three things which are very critical to me. So first thing first, wherever the query is running, I'm sure there are a couple of tables for that queries are really, really important for you. One thing I always like to go and check it is that if there is any workload change or any kind of data change in it. So sometimes what happens, like if in a midnight, if something is loaded or reloaded in that table, can make those kind of thing. And second thing which I've seen it, which I lot of time I go and check it, is the how the network is working. Because if your data is at one place and your application server is another place, network is super critical before even I start tuning my query. See, query was running fine, so query was good. Now something got changed. Where would you start? You won't start with the query. I don't suggest you start with the query first. You start with the external things first, and that is the first thing which I already mentioned to you. Data, right? Data under the hood. If there is a lot of data change, then that's the one. Second thing I always like to check if the network is amazingly fast as it was before. And third thing which I like to always see is that anything change with the schema of the table. Like I see sometimes people changing like for fun, add indexes and things, and that can just create problem. This is what I do, the three things first. If schema is changed, this kind of thing happen. Once it is done, I just try to find a query and then see execution plan. If I have a previous execution plan saved, good. If not, then this is the execution plan I have, and let's start fixing it. That's how I would start. So yes, this is what I would do instead of, I mean, I can give you answer like check this DMV, check that memory, but no, this is what I do when I go to customer. I don't do all this kind of thing because that's not gonna really give me much information. So yes, that's how it is. Now I would wait. So that's good. Let's see what second question is gonna come. So meanwhile, I'll tell you this. Oh, wow. Okay. Very good. Second question is, how do statistics matter for the SQL Server performance? You know what? This is right away actually helping me to expand my first question, which you guys asked me. Okay, think about it. When I talked about first thing, right? Like under the hood, the data changes. We talked about that. So what does that do? Let's step back and for a second and talk about it. So there is a data, like if you have this much of data with you, and suddenly, so you know that my data is like one brick. Now suddenly overnight your data is now very, very big. It's become two bricks. So now data is so big, but you are continuously factoring in that data will be this much. When you have this kind of scenario, right? This kind of scenario, then you do not know what to do. It's like, okay, you know, from here to one, like you are right now at your home and you want to go to a movie cinema. You know what route you will take, but as soon as you get out your home and if that route is closed, what would happen? You take the bigger route, but now you don't know when you will reach. This is what happens when data changes under the hood, and those kind of information about what kind of route exists, how you can take it, what is there in between the route. These are all statistics. So yes, statistics are very, very critical for your SQL Server performance. I can show you a demonstration as well, where you can see no matter what kind of index you create, no matter what kind of query you write, but your query will give you for sure poor performance. That happens. Matter of the fact, I have presented the same thing in one of the past is a hope videos. So if you want, what I would do when this thing goes live on a Facebook, I would put a comment of that past video which I did for free, and you can go and watch this exact demonstration. Yeah, so that's what we would do. So statistics are very, very critical. While the next question come, I'll tell you that these are the two things is must for your statistics. First thing first is that you update your statistics at frequent interval, and second thing, leave auto update and auto create settings at database level on, because that is good thing to do for your database most of the time. See, I'm not the guy who says it depends, right? So yeah, while the question comes, I'll tell you the story about depends. I don't like it depends, because it depends sometimes gets you to right or wrong direction. So I rather prefer that you have one clear answer. So that's why sometimes edge cases scenario may not be covered in my answer, but you know what? You guys are smart to know what to do. So yes, all right. So over to the next question. Let's wait for that. And oh, so one of the question is gonna come up soon, and we're waiting for that. Hmm. Oh yes, next question. What are the three things you look for? Oh, you know what? This is kind of repeat thing, but it's actually extended of the first question. So in the first question, I explain you when I encounter slow queries, there are three things I watch. But I think the question is a little bit different. I think I get the question now. Thanks for asking this follow-up question. So first question was that what are the things I do when the queries are slow? But now, after you get over those things, now your question is, what are the three things I look for when I encounter a slow query? Good job. Good job. I really love this one. So I'll tell you this. First thing, a lot of people say if you have a slow query, I already talked about data, but like think about this way. If you have a query which is running slow, what are things you look for? Okay, I know what you're gonna say. You guys are all gonna say, I will look at execution plan, find most expensive operator, and see what I can do. I can find scan, I can find seek, and we'll start working on it. And all this again, I don't do that. Just to being super honest, that sounds amazing when you want to teach people who are a beginner. But if you are in a real world, this is not how you do, my friends. On real world, that is a very different game. So three things you asked for it. First thing, first, I always look for, so I enable set statistics IO and time on for any query which is running slow, because that's my parameter. I don't look at elapsed time. I always put a lot of weight on a CPU time. This is what I do at my customer place, client place. So I want my IO and time on. So if the IO is on, right, what happens? I exactly know how much data page are being read. So first thing which I look for a slow query, how many data page it is reading. It is very, very critical for me. And that you can know from set statistics IO and time on at a query level. So that is the one thing I look, how many page it is reading from which table, which gives me clear guidance where it is reading the data. Do I have to create index? Do I have to drop index? Or is there any a better way I can rewrite this query? Second thing which I look for is the CPU time, because that is benchmarking for me. If my query was running slow, what was the previous CPU time? If I do not know why this CPU time is not accepted by my customer or client, and what I can do to improve that. These are the two things which I see. And third and final thing which I actually like to see is that if there is in my statistics IO, if there is any mention of the work table, when I see the work table, I know that means the query had to somehow use temporary table, because if you see in set statistics IO, temporary table is very, very critical thing, because now your query has to go out of its own shell and own database and use temporary table from outside, right? So absolutely. So these are the three things. So I'll repeat it very clearly. I try to look for how many page reads are there, and I try to improve that, or is it gone worse or better? Second thing, I look at your CPU time, and third thing, I see if there is a mention of the work table, because that is also a very, very critical thing, because that means you are using a temporary table. All right, so these are the things which I would do. And Yes, let me know if you have any other questions. You guys are asking all about queries, and I'm loving it because see, server tuning everybody can do, but query tuning is equally hard. And like we start from execution plan and things. And I go to execution plan. Don't get me wrong. It's just I don't start with her. That's what I meant to say. All right, so waiting for the next one, and here it is. If I see my query is blocked by another query, what should I do first? Kill the query. No, 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 that's a bad suggestion. That's what the first thing pops up in my mind. I may not do that. So, but many people do that. You know that, right? Between you and me, people do those kind of thing. When they see the query block, they kill it. Okay, will not do that. Let me tell you what I actually do is I okay, so I have a little bit unorthodox way of looking into it, because you asked for a query blocking. See, please understand, query is blocked because somebody else is been using that resources. Now the question is that who am I to decide to if that legitimate if they are using it properly or not? Is it legit or not? It's quite possible you are doing index maintenance, and that's why index maintenance is very, very critical for you, and you have just fired that index maintenance, and that is happening itself, and you are also querying the same table. It might be just fine, and you may think index maintenance is bad. So you know what, first thing I do, what I tell you, you would hate me right now, because this is not what you wanted to hate me. If I see my query is blocked by another query, I wait. Really, I wait actually for a few seconds, few minutes, and during the wait time, I try to identify which query is blocking me and what the function of the query is. It's very, very critical. So I try to find out. I go to SP-Hutu. There are many different ways you can do, but SP-Hutu is natively available in SQL Server Handy, and every server would have installed that. It comes with it by default. So I will go to SP-Hutu, look it up, which is the blocking query, why it is blocking this one, and then I would try to take it to the next one. So this is what I would do, and that's how I like to take it. So yes, I would first wait out, and while I'm waiting it, I'm trying to find the reasons of the query, and if that convinces me, good, I would wait further. If it doesn't convince me and I see there is some not so smart guy in my team had just opened a transaction and is not closing it, even though it's important transaction, either I will inform him, and if I see his transaction is like not so smart like him, I would just kill it. You know, those are the things you can do. But ideally, you need to make sure your transactions are shorter, your queries are running faster, so they don't lock other query. So speed up the original query, buddy. That's what you want to do. So while you wait, do two things. Find what your original query is doing, and if you figure it out, try to speed it up and use any methods you know to tune that. Okay, yeah, wow. Tough questions, man. You guys are, I think seems like you guys, oh, this next question got me speechless for a second. How many indexes on a table is too many? Okay, let me ask you a question back actually. That how many indexes you want to create on a table? Like, you know what? How many index can you create in a latest version of SQL Server on a table? Many. Okay, many is not a good answer. Thank you for trying. That's an awesome answer, actually. You are like, hey, somebody like, this is like my wife asking me, are you coming for lunch or dinner, Pinal? I said, soon. Soon. How soon? Yeah, so I'll give you an answer because you're just saying, okay, you gave a correct answer too. So one cluster index and 999 non-cluster index. Good job. So look at this way. SQL Server allows you to create total of 1,000 indexes, around 1,000 indexes. So yeah, just go ahead and create that many. That would be too many. Honestly, I don't create more than 5 indexes on my table. Every single index you create on a table, that slow down, insert, update, delete, so crazy. I can show you demos and demos, and I'm sure all of you know that. But you guys know that even sometimes you create an index on a table, even though that is not being used in another query, it can slow down that select also. Whoa, I think you guys, okay, repeat. That's one person says. Thank you. I will repeat it because I would be anyway repeating it. So let me tell you, definitely index, slow down, insert, update, and deletes. Yes, it definitely slow down. We have all seen it all our life. But sometime indexes which you create, which are not being used, also can slow down your select. And yes, okay, so hey, this is a live conversation, so it's not about showing you demo. But if you really want to see a demo of this thing, show up at a past summit later this year. In my pre-conference as well as in my regular session, I will be showing this demonstration where you create an index on a table, and that index is not being used at all by query. Still, it slows down your other queries. It's amazing demonstration, and you will be blown away that how many indexes you have created in a past is killing your system. So more than 5, you are just harming your system. Once you cross the limit of 5 or 6, go ahead, create as many index you want to do, because anyway, it doesn't matter now. That particular table and performance on that table, all the queries using that table is now gone. It's nowhere. It's flushed. So once you cross more than 5 and 6, I consider as too many. Don't do that as too many indexes. So yeah, there you go, answer. And I think you asked this question asking how many indexes on a table is too many, to ask my opinion. I gave you my opinion. If you disagree with me, no problem. Keep on creating index on a table. You would eventually need consultant like us to just tell you what I just said. So yeah, done. And again, there are always exceptions. You have column store, you are on a data warehousing, you have a different kind of workload. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. This is for common people like you and me. Okay, so that's me. That's what I wanted to talk about. Index. Man, last 18 minutes, I don't realize where it passed. And so many of you are actually listening, clapping, answering, and doing whatnot. Love the how you guys are just giving me energy sitting other side of live. This is one of the best conversation ever. Yes. So the question is, good job, my friend. I want to learn more about performance tuning. Where should I start? You know what? I can tell you a lot of resources to read, but I'm not going to do that. That's not this question is about. If you wanted me to just give you research stuff and throw you on your face, you could have just done it yourself by going to Bing or Google or even a lot of other places. You can do that, right? Things like that you can easily do it yourself. So, but here is my point here. You are asking me a one direct question. I want to learn more about performance tuning. Where should I start? I can easily say go to past website and watch all the older videos and read all the stuff. But you know what? That's a good answer too. I can say go to Google and search for it. That's a good answer too. Go to SQLauthority.com and start reading all the blog posts, which is marked as performance tuning. But you know what? I'm going to tell you this very honestly. We can all teach you, but that depends on how much you want to learn. But really, if you really want to learn about performance tuning, you should start with the slow running queries. Go to Stack Overflow. See, people are posting questions like, my query is not doing well, I have this issue, that issue, and just understand what your user's expectation is. I had a recently long thread going on with one of my customer. He was saying, I want to run this query faster. I ran the query has a 35 millisecond of CPU time, but elapsed time of the query is 19 seconds. The reason was that he was retrieving over 100 million row in SQL Server Management Studio. Keep on telling me to speed up the query. I said, how can I speed up the query? It is running in 35 milliseconds. He said, no, it's taking 19 seconds. 19 seconds is elapsed time. That's the time for query to draw those results. Your query was done in a split second and it qualified this many rows, which was being pumped into your app. And when it was pumped in and you are drawing those lines on your screen, that was the time. Yeah, so that's the answer for you. You want to learn about more performance tuning? Start with Stack Overflow and help people, or go to your business and ask your boss to give you a difficult query. Start with that. You will learn the best possible lesson there. That's how I learn performance tuning. Yeah, while I wait the next question, I would just tell you my personal story is that I did not get trained on performance tuning. I was thrown in into one consulting job where I was like, say, go ahead, fix this query is running very, very fast. And we want to run it faster. And I was like, okay, it's going to be run faster. I'll go and focus on it. And that's how actually I started. So, yeah, guys, I learned it myself just going hands on. And trust me, you can learn a lot. Keep a faith up. If you have any trouble, you can always depend on me. Just say you watch Facebook Live and just send me the question, right? Leave a comment on this video or just write a question to me, pinal@sequelauthor.com, and I would answer you. So yeah, over to next question, I guess. Nobody's asking next question. Yeah, so I would wait for it. All right, and waiting for, okay. Right. So next question, one of the question you guys have been asking right now on a private message, I suggest you post it really as a question and answer because that's very, very important for everybody to see it. So one of the question is that I want to drop my indexes, but my boss is not is allowing me to drop the question. So allowing the index. So what should I do? That's a great question. Right. So what? If your boss is telling not to drop you the question, right? What you should do? Okay. I'll tell you this very, very simply. Okay. Just do thing what I'm going to tell you. And there is another good question also on the screen, so I have to answer that. So let me finish this one. So what is going to happen is this. If your boss is not allowing you to drop any of the indexes and saying this indexes might be useful, do this very, very simply. First, on your dev environment, run a query on that table by dropping all the indexes. Then create the indexes and run your query. It may be insert update query or select query, and um, uh, whatever is the faster, that's the answer. Either your boss may be right or you may be right? That's how it is. And there is another question on the screen. Do you have any thoughts on a managed services in AWS on Azure, such as when do you recommend to put the database in the cloud? You are touching, oh, not so pleasant place of my heart. You know what? When do you recommend to put anything on a cloud? When you have a lot of money? Yeah, seriously. I mean, so cloud is a very, very interesting thing. It's amazing with what it does. But I would just tell you this thing. Be very, very careful with how much money you have because cloud has a tendency to run out your wallet, and that would happen. So I cannot tell you that this question is very valid. I really love this question. Maybe I can do the entire webcast on this particular question, that when we make a decision, but you really want to make a decision about how much money you have. Like one of my customers said, why you keep on saying cloud is expensive instead of having our own data warehousing? We can host so many things on a cloud and that would just work for them. So yeah, so again, most of the time the decision of going to the cloud, more than a business, it's a more about the more than the technology, it's a more about business reason. You need to go to a cloud because you want to use the new features. If you host in-house your that particular SQL server, you might be spending thousands of the dollar upfront. Here what you pay and use, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's a more of understanding about your nature of the product, and that would help us to decide. Some product, it just doesn't make sense to put it on a AWS or Azure. And what are the thoughts about managed services? You know what? It sometimes doesn't let me do the fine tuning, so that bothers me. But when I see the larger picture of it, like how much work it takes care of it, like backup and things, I don't have to worry about redundancy sometime, those kind of thing, I'm okay. Then I feel like, oh, amazing, I don't have to worry about uptime, I don't have to worry about under the hood disk. So yeah, so I think it's a double-edged sword. If you really have money and if your product has a business justification to go on a cloud, just go on a cloud. There is no reason not to think about it. But start with your smallest application first, because I've seen it. A lot of people, once they go cloud, they want to come back to in premises, and it's a hard time to do it. So yeah, great question. Maybe, and matter of the fact, thank you very much for giving me idea. Maybe I'll do the entire webinar or webcast on this one, and that would be interesting. So yes, that's what it is. Thank you. And now we will wait for the next one. All right, what is the very nice. What is the first thing I should do if I see expected weight? All right, do this thing. Take your wallet in your pocket and run. No. Okay. So I love this question. Weight statistics is my favorite topic actually. And matter of the fact, I wrote a book in earlier time also about weight statistics. So guys, before I answer you, I want to give you all of you a quick warning. I have last 5 minutes left. Ask me as many as question you want. If you cannot ask in a 5 minutes, I would be still answering it, but not like this. You may get your question answered now. So see expected weight, which comes, okay, knee-jerk reaction, or I would just tell you, you know what? Reduce the parallel processing, and for that, set the max degree of parallelism to whatever it is to lower number, increase the cost threshold for parallelism. That's the answer I can give you. Okay, what did I just say to if people who did not understand? I'll tell you this. When you see expected weight, a lot of people think, oh, it's a lot of CPU wastage, and I need to reduce my C expected weight. For that, I need to set cost threshold for parallelism to a higher value and reduce my parallelism on cost on how many queries you are running in the same setting. So my here is what I would like to tell you this. Guys, this is not how you should be evaluating it. First of all, you need to understand your workload here, and that is what you want to do. By changing the max degree of parallelism and cost threshold of parallelism, you might be doing something good or you might be doing something bad. So understand your workload, but I will tell you in a simplest possible word. C expected weight in a 2017 in the latest version, they separate it out to the two different parts. One is C of consumer, which Microsoft calls out a good boy, and there is a rest of the C expected weight which you need to tune it. So if you are on a 2017, you have a better judgment now that how much of the CX packet is better and how much is now you may want to focus and tune it. So in a 2017, I can easily tell you that sometime max degree of parallelism, lowering it might help you out. But in the earlier version of the SQL Server, when you see a lot of CX packet weight, I really do not know how do we just react immediately without understanding the workload. And how do I understand the workload? I would do this simply. If I see CX packet extremely high, I try it out by lowering it and see what happens. And if everything is fine, then I keep it. Otherwise, I'll just go back and start looking at find a query, which is using a lot of parallelism. Last 2 minutes, and we will take last one question. Let's see who is the guy. Who is going to ask about this one? Yes, one of the person says, hey, Pinal, could we get a sneak peek into your upcoming past summit session? Like what to expect from it and what the audience takeaway? Great question. I will tell you, there is a blog post which I will be posting, which I posted on a past website. I would actually post a link in our chat window, not in chat window, right after this one, where I talk about how to optimize lazy spool. See, sometime in a SQL Server execution plan, we see things, right? We see things which is we believe is bad, but sometimes we also see things which is actually really we think is not a problem. And those kind of things are really troubling to us, right? So what are the real villains and what are the real heroes? How do we find out the hiding villains and fix them? And how we have heroes who are not in front of us and doing good and bad stuff. So yes, those kind of things we are going to discuss, and more technical example I would be posting in a comment section of this live video, where there is a blog post which I've written on the 9th of October in 2018 for performance tuning made easy. And that's what it is. So I guess this is the time for wrap up. You guys ask an amazing set of the question, and I just cannot believe there are so many interesting questions. Now you guys are asking when I am ready to leave. So I would tell you this. Check out sqlauthority.com. Attend my past summit web pre-con. If you still have a question, you reach out to me. Pinal at sqlauthority.com, or you can leave a comment. And most important thing, right? Okay, I want to help you out with your performance problem. One thing I want you to tell you is that if you have any performance problem, reach out to me and I would be happy to help you. That's it. So Guys, I think with this, I see 3 more questions coming already on my private message. I already have. If you shared your email address, I would reply you back proactively. Otherwise, I don't know how do I get back to you. I will try to post on a comment section. But performance tuning is not as difficult as you guys think. There are a set of the things you can just do and get instant performance out of SQL Server. So guys, let's talk about this thing when we meet in a person or one of the webcasts which Pass will eventually host. So thank you. Amazing time I have to talk to you guys. This is brilliant. And have a good day.